Are you a hemophobe?
What's that even mean?
Fear of blood.
Oh, kinda.
Yeah.
Actually, not my own, but other people's. Yeah. Whoa. Is that why I'm not into it? Whoa.
Revelations. Cole, is that a revelation?
Oh,
I just said that as a snide remark. I didn't
yeah,
know it
but
would
you
bring
might
up.
be onto something. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the. I look at the thing every time, guys.
11th
Sorry.
episode.
We're on episode 11. I don't actually have it memorized every time. If you look at all of the other things when I introduce the episodes,
You're always like,
I always do this. Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 100% of the time. I will never not do that. Anyway, this is not chapter. This is episode
You do that
11.
every time,
I do
too.
that just specifically for the Chainsaw Man ones anyway.
And chapter 100 whatever.
114 today.
114.
This is episode 11 of our bonus podcast, and we are covering episode 11 of the anime. I really like how that lines up. I'm not going to lie. It makes it so easy. You'd think I'd remember the number by now, though, because that's the case, but
What
we're
a
still not
fun
there.
episode.
Honestly, yeah, this is a fun episode. It's honestly a lot of setup. Let's be honest. It was a lot of setup for the last episode of the season, but like they got a lot of stuff covered in this episode. Specifically, they went through chapter 35?
32 to 35.
32 to 35.
Like
so
2 pages into 35.
yeah, not too far into 35, just a couple pages in, but like a lot. It covers quite a bit. It's a little over a third of a typical volume, which is more than what most of these episodes have been covering, but I still feel like the pacing was just as good as all the other previous ones. In this episode, we saw some stuff happen. We saw Makima make some deals with the mob, the mafia, I don't think they're the
deal or
Yakuza,
no
are they?
deal with them, and then they looked in the
in the bag and
case, and
they didn't guess right.
I guess I'm gonna have to say deal on that one.
We saw Kishibe and him basically being
homies.
done with training the
Yeah,
homies.
he's just like, I'm done being Kakashi.
I'm done being Kakashi. I don't want to do it no more. And then we saw the infiltration of the hotel. Is it a hotel? I always thought it was a hotel.
Looks like it to me. Or apartment building.
Apartment
It
building
kind of looks like
something.
a hotel.
And they're infiltrating it because that's where the bad guys are, like Katana Man and the girl whose name I don't remember ever.
Snake Girl.
Snake Girl.
I guess you could say it's a housing complex.
There we go. That works. It's got a parking garage. That's where
Yeah.
the fight started anyway. We also were introduced to a bunch of new fiends / devils, which is cool, which is pretty cool. You saw
Shark Boy.
Shark Boy. What's his name? Crap.
Beam.
I always forget it. I just know he's Shark Boy. We saw Beam. We saw the Angel Devil. We saw the Violence Fiend. I guess they're all fiends, aren't they? Technically.
Yeah.
They're not actually. Oh, I guess the Spider Devil was a devil. It wasn't a fiend.
Yeah, she's got a weird face.
Yeah.
She like has normal legs and then they pop out.
Yeah.
I wonder how long it took to animate those legs, make
Ugh.
them all individual.
Yeah, for real. But we have the spider.
It's
spider
also
devil.
an oxymoron when there's the angel devil.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
know, that's the first time that's ever really crossed
But also,
my mind.
I wonder
Who
who's-
fears devils?
Yeah, who fears
Or angels, excuse me.
Yeah.
Is there a devil?
Devil. That's like double devil.
That's double D.
Yeah. I think I guess fear of angels could be a metaphor for fear of like
Death.
a sign from God.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. That could make sense.
Maybe some of
too.
these are metaphors. Like
Well,
some of them are straightforward, like spiders, but then there's
Yeah.
others that are like fear of the future.
So the angel, its power is like if you touch it, it takes away your lifespan.
Yeah.
So how would that correlate to being afraid of devils? Or excuse me, being afraid of angels? It's all twisted and turned
Yeah.
in my head. Being afraid of angels. Is it like because angels like show the signs of the times or something?
Like your life is up.
Maybe.
Yeah, like
That
if
would
you,
make sense.
you see an angel while you're slowly dying. That means God's coming to take you away.
Because I feel like most of the devils have their powers really correlate with whatever their thing is. Their
Their name.
Their basis, you know.
Although if the spider devil actually was more like a spider, she'd start shooting webs.
I guess that's true. That's a
Yeah.
good point.
Well, she just uses her legs.
Maybe
to
she
kill
is a
things.
fiend then. Maybe she's
Yeah.
not just a devil. I don't know. I completely just kind of didn't really realize what they were saying, but I thought she was a devil.
We'll also
I
get
think
into
if they
the
said that she
spoiler
was.
section with her zipper face. It doesn't really relate to a spider at all very much.
You'll have to remind me because I
Yeah.
honestly don't know what you're talking about with that when we get there.
Yeah.
But overall, like this episode, it was pretty fast paced. They did a lot of stuff in it, and I'm pretty like chill with it. I thought they did a good job of pacing out all of the stuff they needed to get done before the final episode. There was a time there earlier in the season that I kind of thought like it's gonna be strained. It's gonna be they're gonna be pressured a little bit to fit it all in. But hey, I think they did a good enough job. I think it was a pretty solid adaptation overall.
Yeah, they there was so much they put into this episode where it's like, wow, what? There's a lot of whats that obviously we know, but a lot of whats that the audience is going to be asking where you're just wanting more, essentially. Like,
Yeah.
Aki makes a deal with the future
Yep.
devil,
Oh,
and
that's what started. I forgot
yeah,
about that
what
part.
the setup was too was like, hey, there was people that have already made deals with this guy, and
Yeah.
they kind of had to give away a lot, so hopefully you get a good deal. And he goes in there, and the devil's like, just let me hang out with you, bro, because
It's
I'm
like,
really
The
excited
future
for what's coming.
rules.
Yeah,
The
like
future
literally.
rules.
So that right there is a huge setup where it's like, okay, this guy's going down with a bang. So much so that this devil
Which-
that sounds like a really greedy bastard
Which you
wants
said
to
it's-
watch
which
it.
said he's going down reminds me of the Doyle rules, where it's like I have a feeling your whole family's going down.
They drop off a cliff.
Thank you, Adam
Yeah.
Sandler.
Yeah.
But there's a lot with Makima too. A lot of stuff that I wanted to talk about with spoilers specifically. But it's like, dang, dude, right up front and center. She kind of when she's talking to the Yakuza, she kind
It's
of
crazy how she takes over the whole entire situation just by dropping a bag of eyeballs on the table. It's just like,
Literally.
yeah, that's right. You're gonna do what I want you
Yeah.
to do regardless, because I could just kill you and your families.
that reminds me of the scene from the comic book and movie Under the Red Hood, where Red Hood goes to the mob and he drops a bag of severed heads full of their lieutenants. It's like
I've
that
never
reminds
seen it, but I
Yeah.
bet it could be a reference for sure.
It might be, but I don't know. I don't know. Fujimoto probably pulls references I had. Speaking of pulling references, the scene where she's just sitting on the couch and there's
Oh
just
my gosh,
5 dudes right behind her. It's
they
like
caught that.
there's no way they couldn't mean that.
when Thane, I'm in my room. I just hear Thane go, Cole, come here. You got to see this. I'm like, oh my gosh, this better be worth it. And I walk in. There's like, look at this scene. And I'm looking at it. It's just Makima sitting on the couch with the 5 guys behind her. And I'm just like, they didn't.
Yeah.
No. What the heck? What? It's the meme.
I wonder, is that in the manga too?
I believe it
Yeah.
is. It would be volume 4. I can check.
Yeah, see if it is, because Fujimoto is just he
memester.
knows. There's no way that he couldn't do it. Like it's just it's too coincidental.
I
I
saw it.
I saw it too. Yep. Where? Oh shoot! I just passed it. Where did it go? There it is. It's not
Look.
as good, and it's not as framed as well as it
Yeah.
was in
But
the
it's
anime
there.
to show the meme.
It's
But
there.
but
it's-
it's definitely there. I don't know
it's
how well
there.
you can see this, but that's what you're gonna get.
If you guys not sure of the meme, if you look up the picture, 5 black dudes and 1
Just
white
type in
girl.
Braziers, isn't it?
Brazers, you just get a whole bunch of memes. But if you do 5 black guys, 1 white girl, you would get it.
Yeah.
You just see that meme, and here's a hint.
Yeah, so it's not as obvious in the manga for sure. I feel like
Yeah.
they purposely framed it the way they did in the anime to reference the meme. There's no way they didn't,
Maybe
right? There's no way.
maybe Fujimoto was like, hey, there's a bigger frame here. Let's do it a little bit better than I could do it in a
Yeah.
book.
It's like I only had a small panel. Let's do a whole widescreen
Yeah.
shot
Yeah.
of this. Yeah, they I guess it goes to show though that like while they are adapting most of these panels relatively like very similar, not they're not always one for one. They're similar, but they're not one for one, which is great in my opinion. I think it makes for an interesting and unique adaptation. But they still adapt it in ways that like does obviously reference the manga. It's cool.
Yeah.
I really like the way they're doing it.
Yeah, you see some panels like, oh, you're like Leonardo DiCaprio.
Yeah,
like,
you're like, that's the thing. That's the thing.
I think my favorite scene of this whole episode was Kishibe talking to Makima when they're just vibing there. Man, we learned a lot about Kishibe in that 2
Oh, yeah.
2 minutes, however long they were talking to each other, where he's like, she's like, how's Power and Denji? He's like, I mean, they're good. They're my toys. I also kind of like them. I actually think I like all my toys, and I get attached to him as he drinks more alcohol. And he's like,
that's kind of my problem. Is
Yeah.
I feel like I'm actually getting attached to these things.
yeah. And then he's like, when my toys die, I start drinking more. It's like, oh my gosh, this guy isn't just a heartless murderer. And then Makima too is just, she is kind of laying out her plan, and he's just like, you're a liar. He points right to her. And I'm just like, dang, dude. I really like Kishibe.
I really like how as well he's like, hey, I don't really care what you're doing as long as it doesn't hurt humankind. I guess we're okay. Just do it. But if it doesn't, then like, yikes.
and then at the end of the scene, you
Just
get
a little
that
subtle
you get
smirk,
that
smile,
freaking poop eating grin, just that. She freaking, oh man, that right there, that scene was just banger.
I like the scene with the briefing where he's like, "Hey, you two are gonna take out the Katana Devil. You're gonna get and you're gonna get help." And then Denji's like, "Yeah, after this, I'm gonna ask Makima out." And then it just cuts to a frame where it's just him going like, "Yeah, nice try, buddy." Like his face is just like, "No, you're not."
One of the things that kind of like surprised me / was weird that I didn't catch it my 2 times through the manga was just the fact they've got an entire parking garage full of zombies. Like, you see zombies all the time in multiple different medias and stuff, and so it's not like strange to see them. I think it's the fact that they don't like cause an outbreak. It's a very controlled zombie apocalypse.
It is weird. It's almost like a weapon that they have there, where it's just convenience. Because you're right, like zombies aren't really the focus, but they show up several times.
Well, not only that, but they definitely say very bluntly, like, if you get bit, you turn into a zombie. And so that's exactly what you would expect from a zombie. And it's just like, what? Well, how do they not just explode like in all these other zombie things, like The Walking Dead or whatever?
Yeah, it makes you wonder. Like, it must be more like controlled. Like, they probably put them in one area, or maybe like the corpse devil, they can only like be in one area, and maybe like they lose connection.
I wonder if that could be like the zombie. I think it's the zombie devil.
Yeah,
like they might have like a weird like connection kind of thing with.
I
all
wonder
their
if the
puppets.
zombie devil came back.
Got out of Wi-Fi service.
I wonder if the zombie devil came back at that moment.
Well, it was already back. I don't think Chainsaw Man actually fully killed it all.
Oh yeah.
I don't know though, but like, I don't know how else he would have got back. Maybe because like you'll see. I don't know if they'll do it in the anime adaptation, but you will for sure see faces that you recognize from the original fight.
Oh.
And I don't want to say too much about that because that's getting closer to spoiler territory. You're literally going to see it in the next episode, though. So look out for it next episode. So I'm curious if like this is the same iteration or carnation of the zombie devil, or if it's a new one. I wouldn't be able to know. I have no clue. I think it's the same personally, though, just based on that fact alone. But it's super interesting just to see zombies play a role in another series, and they're not the focal point. It's just like an extra thing, just like a bonus, like these are our weapons for the day, the zombie apocalypse. Yeah. And like I said, it's really interesting. It's just contained to just this parking garage.
Yeah.
I don't know. I completely just brushed it aside my first 2 times reading through, and then it was this time watching, it was just like, yeah. That's interesting. That's weird that that's actually a
kind of like
thing.
Resident Evil. They could just brush an entire zombie apocalypse under the rug, or with a nuke.
Yeah, because isn't Resident Evil? It's relatively contained to just Raccoon City. Am I right?
Yeah, Raccoon City had an outbreak, and what's the solution? Just nuke the whole city. All the zombies are dead.
Yeah,
but spoiler alert: it doesn't work.
Yeah. Well, not the way you think.
That's true.
In Resident Evil 4, it's not really zombies, it's Las Plagas. In Resident Evil 5, it's Mahini. Resident Evil 6, it's back to zombies and a new virus.
And Resident Evil 8 is the vampire that I want to step on me.
Yeah. 7 and 8 are like mold people.
Sounds like that's a light novel title right there.
8 is actually werewolves.
Resident Evil 8 has the That's the whole title.
Has the vampire that wants to step on me.
No, that I want to step on
that
me.
I want to step on me.
Yeah. What's her name? Like Demetrius or something?
Yeah, Lady Demetrius.
Lady Demetrius.
Demetrius.
Whatever,
Demetrius.
it's the same thing.
Well, that's pretty much all I had for this episode. Did you guys have any other things you wanted to say about the episode? Before we get into spoiler territory, anyway.
I thought the final scene was fun, where Aki was fighting. Also, it was like he saw the ghost devil, and he's like,
He's like, "Oh, F, dude, that was Jimenez."
like,
no,
really? Fuck you.
it's like it's like their stand.
yeah.
But like the stand doesn't just go away because the person goes.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, oh crap, there's the stand again.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Also, the ending song was pretty catchy.
Yeah, the ending.
I love that ending.
I
song.
liked the song a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the animation was like pretty cool. It's got that black and white.
Very unique.
Yeah.
It makes me wonder because as of recording this episode, we've already recorded our fall end of the year episode because we're all going to be gone for the holidays, and we had to kind of work on that way. And I'm just curious if like this next episode 12, will have like our favorite ending. You know, I wonder if that will like take over the ending, and we'll have to do like a retcon or like a
I guess
later on.
I guess when we come back, we'll be like, "Hey guys, remember back in that episode when we said this one was our favorite ending?" No, Chainsaw episode 12 was our favorite ending.
It's just really hard because we just don't know at this point.
That's the problem when they have just multiple endings. You can't determine
it.
Yeah.
But I agree though. This song was pretty fun. The animation was fun too. Not bad.
And Power was doing like a sexy dance.
I thought she was doing the same dance from the intro. Was that so? Am I just looking at it wrong or?
No, I think it was just like some kind of weird erotic dance or something.
I didn't catch the erotic vibe.
I was into it.
Yeah.
Maybe I need to watch closely. I guess it just goes to show how much I'm not a Power stan.
Yeah.
You guys all want to bang Power, and I'm just over here like.
She can step on me. I'm cool with it.
Ugh, she can poop on you.
Are you a hemophobe?
What?
Are you a hemophobe?
What's that even mean?
Fear of blood.
Oh, kinda.
Yeah.
Actually, not my own, but other people's. Yeah. Whoa. Yeah. Is that why I'm not into it? Whoa.
Revelations. Call this a revelation.
Oh,
I just said that as a snide remark. I didn't know
but
it'd
you
bring
might
up.
be onto something. Oh boy. Okay.
You just look at those horns and you're like, ugh.
That learned me something about myself right there.
Wow. Okay then.
Well, that's the episode. We're going to go into our spoiler discussion, but before we do that, we want to remind you that next week we will be not skipping week, the next episode will be delayed a week. Just because, like I said earlier, holidays, we're all going to be gone and all that stuff. So not next Wednesday, but the Wednesday after that. It'll be the first Wednesday of January that the last episode of Chainsaw Man bonus episode will come out. So look forward to that. Anyway, let's go ahead and jump into our spoiler discussion. This is your last warning for spoilers. If you don't want them, just go ahead and take off. And if you don't care, or if you already know about it, then feel free to stay and listen in on the rest of our conversation. Okay, cool. Now I think we're safe. We're safe. So, obviously, like the big elephant in the room is just Makima just owning this episode. Literally just like taking control. Wink, wink, haha.
She title dropped herself too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. She knew. She freaking knows. It's funny, but like. It's just interesting how much of like a metaphor / foreshadow it is. How she just takes control of that room in an instant, really proving what she is. You know, it's very
monster,
very cool. Just like I'm the control devil. Haha, look at me. You know,
we're also those bloody noses. Those guys in the hallway getting bloody noses. Was that her doing?
I think that was her. That was her doing. Because in the room. That dude just passed out and died right there with the bloody nose.
Did Kishibe always suspect Makima? It's like, I know she's evil.
I believe he did, yeah.
When time comes, I'm going to have to use Denji to get rid of her.
Okay, before I forget, and we'll come back to the Makima stuff, but I'm going to forget about this if I don't bring it up now. So now we have the Violence Fiend. The Violence Fiend is back. A lot of people have this theory that the Violence Fiend took over Arai's body after he died in the last episode or 2 episodes ago or whatever it was. Kobeni's buddy,
the one that got shot in the neck.
Yeah, and there's a couple things that kind of back up that theory. The Violence Fiend becomes Kobeni's buddy, essentially buddy. You know, like just like Denji and Power, and. When they go to hell and have that whole arc, the International Assassins arc, you see the Violence Fiend without his mask, and while it's really deformed and stuff, it still kind of looks like Arai a little bit.
Any
anyway.
bullet holes or anything?
Those would be gone. I think. I don't think those would have stuck around regardless.
Isn't that where he dies in hell?
I think so.
Yeah,
I
because
can't remember
I look
how
up the
he
wiki to
dies.
like remember who's dead and alive, and it says he died somewhere.
Yeah, that's probably it's either that or it's immediately after they get
Yeah.
back because I know he gets like chopped up. It's probably in hell right then and there that he gets chopped up. Actually.
Yeah, I remember that moment in the Indian Assassins where people were just getting decapitated. It's
Oh,
like,
just like,
holy
boom,
shit.
boom. Yeah. So that's one of the big theories. I guess going forward, we probably won't see it until the next. Not probably. I know we won't see it till like at least the next season of the anime. So look forward to that when we get there. But yeah, that's just an interesting theory that I wanted to bring up because he's actually back. And some people even thought that like the violence fiend would take Arai's spot in the intro when he's introduced. But I'm pretty like because in one of like the. I think it was like the concept art or something like that. You can see the violence fiend in the background of one of the shots or something, and it was not in their official opening, but like one of the. I think it's just called concept artworks of the opening when they're in the theater. Anyway, that's what I wanted to say about that. Now we can go back to talking about Makima and how she just controlled the entire episode.
I thought it was interesting how she was talking to the Yakuza or whoever those dudes are about necessary evils. And then she said, yeah, a necessary evil would work if you've got the leash and control. And I was just like, she just dropped her freaking name. Right? She just name dropped it. You know what I mean? Mic drop.
She got doggies too.
Yeah, literally. I think it's interesting, though, that like this episode, obviously you've been suspicious up to this point, especially when she gets her head shot and then she comes back and is fine. But this episode, you're just like, okay, something's up. Maybe she's just not who she says she is. Freaking Kishibe calls her out. She's a freak. She's got a bag of eyeballs. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like blatantly obvious now. You can look at it and be like, okay.
It's interesting because all of those previous episodes that I brought up, they always do something to divert the suspicion. This is the only episode they never did.
Yep.
In fact, they brought it up. They brought it to the forefront, especially with that little coy smile right at the very end with the Kishibe scene. So it's quite interesting how much of a shift it was from previously when they're really kind of getting you to the point where like, yeah, you need to really start suspecting her at this point from here on out, essentially.
And the thing is, too, though, is like up to this point, she hasn't really done anything that, quote unquote, has been bad towards, like it hasn't been helpful, I guess, in a sense. So it's like you go back to that necessary evil thing that she was talking about. And as an audience member, you could look at that and be like, okay, well, she hasn't killed anyone that hasn't tried to kill them first, I guess, essentially. So
She hasn't killed the good guys.
yeah, she hasn't killed any good guys yet. But Kishibe knows. He's like, whatever you're cooking up, you know what I mean?
Because she still finds them useful. It's like, oh, I find you useful right now. I'm going to use you. Also, just like she used the spider lady when they went to hell, she's kind of used the zipper on her face.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. She unzips like the face and like crawls out of the spider. That's how she gets to hell, correct?
Yeah, I think, yeah.
Because she wasn't with the group when they originally got sent
Yeah.
there, so she had to go there herself. Yep, I remember that now.
So, can you guys enlighten me or remind me what Makima's intentions are? Like, what's her goal? I don't remember what her goal is.
To either beat Chainsaw Man or be his subordinate, essentially.
So it's just specifically Chainsaw
100%,
Man. That's
yeah.
her whole goal, is just
Yeah.
Denji.
Yep.
Chainsaw Man has the unique ability to eat demons and have them never come back.
Yeah, essentially erase the devils from history.
Yeah.
And so, like,
If there's
in
ever a devil to piss her off, he'll just send
Yeah,
she'll
and
just send
so
Chainsaw Man.
either she wants to be able to control that power or work for that power, in a sense. Just because she really likes the idea of being able to control that much stuff.
Yeah.
But it's specifically Chainsaw Man. Like, obviously, she doesn't really give an F about Denji.
Yeah, no, she doesn't care about Denji at all. In fact, you see it at the very last chapter. Like, Denji realizes that she never cared about him, which is how she was able to, or which is how Denji was able to win the fight.
You know, thinking about it, since they're based off fears, I wonder when they form, because someone, when they made a chainsaw, someone has had instantly scared of it when it was invented. So I wonder when that was, maybe the 1800s, 1900s.
Well, it was definitely before World War II, anyway.
Yeah.
Because we know that the chainsaw devil, well, I guess it doesn't necessarily have to be before World War. I guess it's just whenever the chainsaw was invented. I'm just going to Google that because I'm curious now.
The other thing I wanted to point out too about Makima and Kishibe's conversation was Kishibe was getting heartfelt and sentimental about like, hey, I actually care about these people that are dying.
1830.
He's like, I actually care about these people who are dying. I may call them my toys. This is my interpretation of it. Like, I may call them my toys, but I really do care about them. And then it cuts to Makima, who just doesn't give an F. Literally doesn't give one F with the words that are coming out of his mouth.
It's like they're very polar opposites, and it's a
yeah.
very fitting scene because of that. And you don't recognize it with the foresight doesn't really help you. You'd have to get that in hindsight.
Yeah.
Very, very interesting scene to point out in that regard. Anyway, I like that. Yeah, it's really interesting. There's a lot of foreshadowing hints and stuff like that with this episode, and going forward, I feel like there's less and less of that. There is some stuff here and there, but it's because they want the reader / viewer to kind of be in the know at that point. Like, the next time I can really think of a big moment is like when Kishibe's got the sign that says like Makima is listening. It's like they're doing that so that the audience knows, but it's not a foreshadowing thing anymore because at that point you know that something's up with her. Whereas before it was all foreshadowing specifically because you never really, really knew.
So I can't remember, but do you guys remember when you came to the conclusion where you're like, okay, Makima's bad. She's kind of controlling all this. Like, did you guys have that enlightened moment, or did it just happen when it's revealed?
Because I read it so fast, I don't really remember if it was like a big moment. But if it was, it had to have been when she dropped the eyeballs on the table.
See, I don't remember either, but that's probably what I think too. Because I remember you started reading it, and you're like, you got to read this, and I'm like, okay. I started reading it, and then you finished it really fast, and then I finished shortly after. Like, I read it pretty fast too.
Yeah. Did you have a moment like that, Thane, when you realized? Because you were reading it week by week.
I realized that something was up with her. Like, eventually, it's like, yeah, she's
sus.
She's sus. And then she killed Power. After that, it's like, oh, she's the villain.
But that's towards the end. Isn't
Oh,
it?
then you know for sure by then.
Because
You know that
Aki
she
was.
Yeah, you know by then that she effed up Aki.
Yeah, it's like,
I guess it just set in at that point.
yeah, it's like, wow, she really is the villain. Like,
Gotcha.
I wasn't sure, but now I know she is the final antagonist.
I mean, I think you always know there's something up with her the whole time.
Like,
I think that's the point.
I have feelings like, is she the bad guy? She's probably the bad guy, and then that happened. You're like, yeah, she's the bad guy.
If I had to guess, for me, it was specifically the dropping the eyeballs on the table, because in my mind that went against what a quote unquote good guy would do, even in this messed up world or messed up story of Chainsaw Man. But that's kind of my thoughts in general.
Although she did say, like, oh, I know someone who could put them back in. It's like, but that's kind of messed up that you pulled them out in the first place.
It's like blackmail, but to the worst degree, I guess.
Yeah, for real. So I guess before we close out the episode, we can talk a little bit about the chapter that we read today, the most recent one. So if you're not caught up on that, then I guess
mega spoilers.
Mega spoilers for that chapter. I don't remember which number it is. It's like 117,
114.
114.
Yeah. So,
if you don't want spoilers, then check out now. Thanks for watching. But if you don't care about that, then let's go ahead and talk about it. This one, I had to reread like 3 pages over and over again because I was just so confused as to what was happening at the beginning of the chapter. It went all over the place very quickly with all of these characters just showing up, bam, bam, bam.
Conveniently.
Very conveniently.
That was just like a plot convenience. They're like, oh, yeah, we just want to look at fish, too. It's like, okay, but it had to be you. Also, the previous chapter, it showed the hallway. Nobody was freaking there. But plot convenience, whatever.
Yeah. It's interesting that there's this new Kobeni. It's clearly either Kobeni or one of Kobeni's siblings. Yeah. I don't know what the answer is.
It's not Kobeni.
It's not for sure.
I don't think it's Kobeni because they're in high school. They're in the Demon Hunter Club.
Sure, but like
she
could just be undercover.
Yeah,
because the way
I think it might be because she has mentioned siblings before, right?
Yeah, she definitely has.
It's probably a sibling then.
It was just the way that she was talking kind of clued me into her knowing. I don't even know if it's a he or she.
I can't really tell.
I'm just saying her because I think of Kobeni. But the reason, like, I some of the stuff that they were saying was like, hey, should you really know about it like that, or should you putting it into this kind of context? With the context that it is Kobeni, I feel like some of the stuff that they were saying is very on the nose. But with the context that it's just one of their siblings, then I could let it slide. As of right now, I'm just gonna assume it's Kobeni because the other dude's there too, and like maybe he wanted some backup. But at the same time, like if it actually was Kobeni, you think that she'd be like, "Oh, this is the Eternity Devil," or
Denji
maybe she's playing dumb.
Or Denji would know, be like, Kobeni, what are you? It's like pulling stuff.
That's
like,
true.
Kobeni, what are
Denji
you
would know
doing
too, unless Denji's just too dumb and can't see past
Yeah,
the disguise.
Probably.
I don't know. I just saw the little beret things in the side of the hair too, and I just like that's gotta be her. Or, like I said, it's a sibling.
Yeah.
I wouldn't put it past Denji. Also, he's really still pissed off at Asa right now
Yeah.
because of their horrible date.
True. You know, the more I'm really thinking about it and like speaking it out, it probably is a sibling because Kobeni's whole purpose for joining the public safety was to make money for her siblings to go to college, and this one specifically joined the Devil Hunter Club to get a scholarship to go to college. So the more I put it into perspective, it probably is just a sibling.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. I
And
wonder.
they said a name. They said a name to it. That person.
Yeah, they definitely did. I was still under the impression that they were
Let me check.
under a
the name.
disguise at that point. But let's be honest, it probably is just a sibling, and they've just added a new one,
Haruka.
Haruka.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see if Kobeni comes back or if this new Kobeni is Kobeni their last name?
Probably.
Probably.
Yeah. Kobeni's the last.
What I'm excited for is the moment when Denji sees the other Chainsaw Man's
Oh yeah,
ripcord.
yeah.
'cause
They're teasing us on
yeah,
that
it's
one.
just Denji's just gonna be like, I don't know what he's gonna do. I'm just excited to see
Yeah.
his reaction. I wonder if he'll like run up and actually pull it and see if it does anything.
Oh,
Maybe he
Kobeni's
just
like
rips a cord
Kobeni's her
out.
first name. Her last name is Higashiyama.
Higashiyama.
Yeah.
So if it's Haruka Higashiyama, then we'll know
Yeah.
for sure. Interesting. Yeah, this is a fun little setup chapter for sure. I'm very excited to see where this is going. It'll be interesting to see when Denji actually does, because obviously Denji's gonna be the one fighting the Eternity Devil. I feel like that's a
Yeah.
given, unless the squid dude, I can't remember his name. I feel bad. What do you guys know his name? Squid guy. Unless Squid guy stops
Although-
him from becoming Chainsaw
Yeah.
Man and says you can't do it.
Although he did recognize him, so recognizing.
To be fair, he said it before.
Yeah.
He said, "Sup, Denji," before Denji even said a thing to him.
Also, Kobeni has an elder brother and eight sisters, so it's probably one of her sisters.
Gotcha.
She has
Yeah.
8 sisters.
Yeah,
Good
according to the
lord.
wiki. That must have been mentioned somewhere offhand.
Yeah. This will be an interesting confrontation. I'm excited to see where it goes. But I think that pretty much wraps it up, guys.
Also, the manga by this point takes place in 1998, right?
Yeah, because there's cell phones.
Yeah, but is there that kind of cell phone in that time? That kind of flip phone?
It
must
might be an
ana-
altered time or whatever.
It must be an anachronistic thing then,
Yeah.
because I don't know if they have that ton of cell phone. They probably have like a. If you want to be more accurate, it'd be like some kind of Nokia brick phone.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that would be more like 2003 or 4 for that kind of a
Probably,
flip
yeah.
phone.
Yeah. And also, that guy was kind of a dick when she was trying to get cell phone service, drops the phone. It's like, wow, you're disappointing.
He's just
The
like,
last panel is
how
her
could
just like
you?
in the hallway crying.
oh, but you don't know Denji's
Yeah.
gonna come freaking swoop. Either Denji's gonna be like a homeboy, or he's just gonna be a dick to her.
Yeah.
Oh, you broke
It's
your
like,
phone
what's
too?
wrong?
Wow.
Yeah.
What's wrong? You crying? It's like, yeah.
He's probably like, I still want to go see penguins.
It's like, I felt useless sometimes too, and maybe they'll have a bonding moment. It's like, let's get out here and go see penguins.
Yeah.
And then they make out, and then they
Yeah.
win.
I don't know if it's gonna end like that.
I
I'm
don't.
sorry.
I doubt
don't
it
know.
will.
Yeah.
Well, that pretty much does it for the episode, guys. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for watching as well. Like I said, we'll see you in the next 2 weeks for the last episode of Chainsaw Man. Don't forget, we're also doing our normal episodes. We just wrapped up the Castlevania episode, which will be coming out Friday. And then the next 2 weeks after that, we're going to be doing the Fall 2022 episode, as well as the Year of 2022 episode at the very beginning of January. So look forward to those. We'll see you guys then. Have a great life. And, oh, crap, I screwed it all up.
Goodbye.
Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.